Hey there, welcome back. It's been a little while. I've taken some time away to rest and recover my voice, and it's mostly back. I think you'll be able to hear there's still a little bit of scratchiness in it, but it's good enough that we can record some videos finally again here on the channel. And so before we get back to the regular Blender Gunpla content, there were a couple of kind of one-off project things that I wanted to talk with you guys about. We'll tackle the first one of those today. So I've been in this space, this garage studio that I built for about a year now, and for the last year I've been trying to figure out a way to organize and store and keep track of all of my tools. I don't know about you, but when I'm building model kits, I find that I use a lot of kind of small one-off kinds of tools, and if I'm not careful, they'll end up laying around either here on my desk or over, on any surface here in my space. I just end up with tools laying around. So I wanted to find a way to keep them all together and be able to find what I need when I need it, and then put it away when I'm done. And so I've come up with a system that's based on Gridfinity. And if you haven't heard of Gridfinity, it's kind of an open standard system, was developed by Zach Friedman. So shout out to him. It's a very cool idea. And it's based on these grid base plates, and then you can put little bins on them that are all interchangeable and fit nicely. And can be magnetized to stick down to the base plates. And people in the community have built all kinds of different bins to store, just about anything you would want in kind of like a shop or maker space type of a situation. There weren't some pre-built bins for some of the Gunpla tools that I use, and so I went and developed some myself as well. So I'm going to put links in the description down below for Gridfinity itself if you want to learn more about that, and then all of the things that I show you in this video, the ones that I designed and some other ones that I borrowed from other people, so that you can print these out and try them for yourself in your own workspace if you think that they'd be useful. And so what I do with this is I have a very large storage base plate that I've printed out. It actually sits in this thing over here to my left, is a rolling cart that rolls around my studio with me. So if I'm here at my desk, it's usually sitting either on one side or the other. If I go over to my spray booth area, which is over there around the corner, it rolls over there with me as well. And down in the bottom drawer of this, there's a large 5x5 square Gridfinity base plate that I've printed out, where all of my things sit when they're not in use. And then as I need them, I get them out and put them up here on my desk or over at the spray booth or wherever I'm working. And I only get out what I need. So if I'm sanding, I get out the things with my sanding tools. If I'm just building, I get out the things with my side cutters and my hobby knife and that sort of stuff. If I'm scribing, I have scribing tools and so on. And what I do when I get them out is I put them here on my desk on a base plate like this. So this is the one that sits at my desk, and here you can see an example of what the slim version of the base plate looks like, and I've glued magnets in here so that everything sticks down nicely. So this is 2x5 squares, and I find that this is a good size for here at my desk, and it usually sits right over here to my left so that the tools are right at hand. We'll sit it here for now so you guys can see. I have a smaller version. It's thicker and beefier because it's weighted down a bit. And it's less likely to knock over. This is the one that sits over at my spray booth. It's 3x2, and sometimes I'll need, for example, sanding tools. If I'm sanding resin and I want to use the extractor fan over there, I'll take them over there and put them on this. And then we've got this special base as well, which we'll talk about later when we talk about paint storage, that's got like a stepped design to it. But this is the one that I use most of the time here on this desk. And what do I put on it? Well, I'll show you first of all my favorite and most used of these little bins. So this is, one square. It fits on here like this. It magnetizes down so that it's not going to knock over or anything like that. And this holds a pair of nippers, a pair of tweezers. And the tweezers I use are these ones that have the curved tips, and so I've designed the space just specifically for that. And then a hobby knife, right? So it's got a hole here for a hobby knife. It's got this slot for these tweezers, and they slide down and kind of fit right in there with their curved tips. And then the nippers sit like so, and ends of all of these pieces are designed so that they don't actually touch the bottom. So you're not like dulling the blade on your nippers by putting them in here. So yeah, I've got two different versions of this, or two different copies of this bin here. One here for my God hands and my nice hobby knife, and then a different one that I use for some other side cutters that aren't quite as precise, and a slightly less good hobby knife. So I pull out, usually one of those bins is always up here on my desk, but I can then put them away if I'm not using them. So yeah, this is probably my most used. Then if I'm sanding, I have a couple of different things that I can use. I've got this guy here, which holds my acrylic sanding sticks. These are the type with the adhesive sandpaper that you can just peel off when it runs out and stick a new one on. I also built in the side of this a little slot for a razor glass file as well. So yeah, this, if I'm doing small sanding jobs, this is almost always in use. And then for larger sanding things, I like these Infinity sponges. So there's a whole set of 8. They're all different grits, and I can just pop out the one I need. I suppose I could put labels on the side here, so I could label the grits. But I found now that I've got them in order and I've used it a bit, I always know which one to pull out anyway. So yeah, these are the two sanding solutions. And then masking. I designed this guy here. So this is the first one we've seen that is a larger square than just a single block. I guess this one's 1x3, so it takes up 3 spaces here. This one's a 2x2, and it's from my Tamiya masking tape. And I find that I use 3 different widths of this tape fairly frequently. So this is 6mm, 10, and 18. And so since I use all 3 pretty much all the time, like when I'm doing a masking job, I need all 3 sizes here with me. I figured I'd put them all in one dispenser. So the way this works is there's just a little axle piece here that I've designed that fits in the tape, and then it just slots in like so. And you can pull it off and rip the tape off. Now the little edge here doesn't produce a super clean tear. It's not terrible. It's just kind of like a Scotch tape dispenser would be. But that's fine with me because usually I stick this down onto a cutting mat or something and then use a hobby knife to cut the little smaller slices that I need as I'm doing masking. So yeah, this sits in here when I'm doing masking jobs, and that way I can get my tape easily. And I only have to buy the refill packages, not the dispensers anymore, when I run out and need more. So let's see, one more thing, scribing tools. I use these scribing tools. They're BMC, I think SAB makes a similar style. They're these small ones like this, but I use them with these plastic handles. And so I designed this little holder for these to fit down inside of. And again, the tips don't never touch the bottom, so you don't have to worry about them breaking or scratching or anything like that. And the back 2 here are raised slightly above the front 2 so that you can more easily reach in and grab what you're after. Yeah, so I think those are all the ones that I designed, the tool holders that I designed myself. There's a few other random things I use up here on the desk quite often. I like this 2x2 sort of bowl shape. It sometimes just sits on the desk by itself. Sometimes I go ahead and put it in the base plate. But either way, if I'm working with something with like small parts and I want to just save something so that I don't accidentally knock it off the desk and lose it, I find that this is handy to have here just to put things in while I'm working on something and I want to keep track of something and not lose it. So yeah, that stays up here pretty frequently. I have this dust brush that I use. It's just, I think it's a makeup brush actually. I use this for, dusting things off and cleaning away sanding dust and that sort of thing. So I created a simple holder for that that's the right size. So again, if you have custom special tools or things you've used, it's pretty easy to just load a blank version. I'll put that in the description too as well. Somebody created kind of filled in solid versions of these bins in different heights. You can load that into any modeling tool, but I used Blender because that's what I tend to use. And then cut out the slots that you need to store things. So this has just got a round hole in it, and I use it for toothpicks and Q-tips and that sort of thing. But yeah, if you want to design your custom ones, it's fairly simple to do so. And then you've got, things built specifically for your tools. I said I'd talk about paint. So here, we'll talk about this guy here. Lately I've been painting a lot with SMS lacquer paints. And so they're these guys. They come in these nice little glass bottles, and they're pre-thinned. So in theory, you just have to pour them straight from the bottle to the airbrush. Sometimes I need to thin them a little bit extra, but it's close. And these bottles are nice and small. And I've realized they're about the size of one of these Gridfinity grid squares. And so I designed these little bins here, which can hold either 2, or I've got a version also that holds 3 wide of these paints. And the reason I chose 2 and 3 is that this little stepped holder that I found is 5 squares wide. So I can do something like this, and then there's another row above. See, they stack like this, so that sitting on top of my spray booth, I have the entire collection of paints all in order on display. And it makes it easy to reach up there and pick out a specific paint that I'm after. So that works well for my SMS paints. I have other brands of paints that I mix into larger bottles, and I have not yet found a way to store those in a Gridfinity type of a system because they're, like I said, larger bottles. But that's okay. These ones work well for this type of paint. And again, if I've got this by my spray booth and I'm just using a few colors of paint, I can put them in one of these by themselves and just put it here like this so that they're right next to me as I'm working, and I can reach over and grab what I need. So yeah, that's worked out well. What else? There are a few things that I have not yet created holders for that I would like to. One is my part separator. I think this one was made by Wave, but I've seen a few. I think the USA Gundam Store one as well has this same handle design. So I think I'd like to create a block where this just sits vertically like that, and it holds it like that, and so you can grab it by the handle. I haven't had time to do that one yet. I also use these, and funnily enough, I put them on toothpicks quite often, but they're supposed to come on with the little plastic handle like this. For cleaning off panel lines, or cleaning after I panel line. So I need to create some kind of a holder to hold these little sponges, and I'm not quite sure kind of what design I want to use for that yet. So I'm thinking more about that. But those are 2 things that are probably in the works. All of these different things are on my profile at printables.com. So again, you can download those and print them out if you'd like. If you have questions about any of this, or ideas, I'm always open to good organizational tips and techniques and things to use, because I find that if I keep my space clean, I feel better about it, and it makes it easier for me to work on projects. So clutter and having random things laying around really drives me nuts. So I'm trying my best here in this space, which does tend to get messy because it's a workspace. I'm trying to keep things organized and good. And so, yeah, if you've got thoughts or questions or ideas, or, other things that you think that would be interesting for me as I try to organize this space even better, let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, yeah, print some of these out. Let me know if they work for you. And I will see you in the next video, which is going to be about, I don't know, but it's going to be another cool one-off topic. We'll see what I come up with in a couple of days. And that'll do it for me today. Have a good one. Happy building. I'll see you next time.